Welcome back. Over the last 8 weeks, 23ABC and the Delano Police Department have partnered up to create the podcast series Breaking the Cycle of Gang Violence. The final episode aired Monday afternoon with Delano Chief of Police Robert Nevarez, and he joins us live this morning to talk a little bit more about it. Good morning, Chief Nevarez.
Good morning, Danielle. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for joining us so early. So firstly, thank you for also being a part of this podcast. It was really interesting to listen to. If anybody hasn't heard it, you can go to our website, turnto23.com, listen to all 8 episodes. But I want to jump right into it right off the bat for your final episode here, episode 8. You talk a little bit about the importance of the secret witness program and how the Delano Police Department hopes to utilize it. Can you talk why you think that's going to help in the fight against gang violence?
Well, we've had reward funds in the city of Delano for some time now, and we just haven't been able to get people to come forward and offer information on violent crimes. And we've teamed up with the Kern County Secret Witness Program, and we're hopeful that that will cause people to actually be able to come forward by remaining anonymous. So that's our hope. We're just getting started up, and we'll see how it goes.
And the importance of that has to do with, you were saying, how scared sometimes people might be to come forward and how big of an issue that is in the community. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. In this community, that is a very real fear that many of our residents go through. And it's important for us to be able to do like other communities and have a system in place where people come forward, anonymously give information that leads to prosecution of that case, not necessarily a conviction. And by having this in place, it's another avenue that we have, and hopefully breaking up an ugly cycle we have in Delano where people don't come forward to report when they're witnesses to violent crime.
Something new that you can talk about as well with us, which I know you can't mention many details, but it's the Gang Task Force Unit alongside McFarland. Tell us more about that.
Well, for an agency of 56 sworn officers, we've assigned 8 of our officers specifically to focus on gangs. And I talk about this in my podcast segment. Having a goal to eliminate gangs, I don't know how realistic that is, certainly not in the near future, but it is important for us to be able to disrupt gangs and to remove their anonymity. And this, our gang enforcement unit is out there on a nightly basis, and they're doing just that. And if I can get the rate of violence to slow down, I'm certainly willing to accept that gain in the short term, in hopes that over the long run, as a society, we can come up with strategies to eliminate gang violence completely.
Out of the 8 episodes, are there any specific moments or maybe overall episodes or guests from the podcast that really stood out to you, and why?
Absolutely. The first episode with Pastor Mike Salazar out of Bakersfield, I watched his story and I was very introspective because our childhoods were similar, but we did share one difference. And that's that I was fortunate enough to have a father that was really involved in my life, and he didn't have that. And I saw how our paths went in different directions, and it's caused me to be introspective. I'm very grateful for having that family bond early on, and so it's been beneficial for me to see it from that perspective. I look at gang members a little differently now. I certainly want to break up the violence, but at the same time, I'm also sympathetic and understanding of when somebody goes down that path as a society, trying to find a way to get them back plugged into society. So they're not out committing those crimes.
You spoke a little bit about the importance of identifying kids at an early age of potentially going down the wrong path. Now, I know you also mentioned people use Delano PD as a crutch to help with that, but can you talk about why that might not be the right answer?
Well, again, as I talk about in my podcast, it's going to be really important that we as a society come up with a long-term solution. But the police department, we weren't created to solve a problem that has roots in childhood and early upbringing. And, I'm looking forward to hearing from people. I already have. I have 2 calls I got to return today from members of our community that want to step up and be more involved. In fact, Judge Robert Tafoya here locally is also wanting to step up and help mentor youth at a very young age so they don't end up going down that path. So we're really looking forward to a lot of these ideas. And I'm hopeful that this series was able to harness all of that energy that we saw at a vigil about 3 months ago, where people came forward to share their stories. That's what this was about, to provide people those perspectives in hope of creating some thought as to what is a deeper solution.
After listening to the entire series, is there anything different that your department's going to be focusing on in the near future? And what are those next steps?
Well, again, we have to come up with a way to plug into our community as a whole. And as a police department, we're at the front scene. We have a front row view of all the carnage and pain and suffering. And so we feel like we have to do something. But the truth is that the tools to solve these problems lie somewhere else. But we certainly are willing to be there to facilitate that. And I also want to remember to thank Jessica Harrington before we get done with this, and thank her for everything that she has done for this department, and 23 ABC for all that they've done and allowing her to be part of this. We're fortunate to have such a great partner in 23 ABC and all of your staff. Thank you.
It's true. Jess is awesome. Chief Nevarez, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And again, all 8 episodes of that podcast are available on our website, turnto23.com. Thank you again, Chief.
Thank you, Delano.